Hello and welcome to the Plant Paradigm Podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with amazing individuals from all around the world. I'm your host, Tom Simak, a fellow plant eater and athlete that strives to optimize every living ecosystem. Passionate about looking after this beautiful floating rock we call home and all the lovely creatures that dwell among it. This episode is the monthly Paradigm. It's a bit of an interrupt on the usual episodes where we actually interview people from around the world about climate science, nutrition, mental health, fitness, all these different types of topics, where I sit down with Sharna Harrington and we dive into what's really happened in the month. It could be news. We finish with the good stories. We have the newest science that's come out and everything in between. It is really an educational lowdown on what is happening with us and what is happening in the world of plants. Sharna, how are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good.
Good.
So this is your second time on the show.
Yes.
So that last month was your first appearance, and how did you enjoy it?
It's good.
You don't have to lie.
No, I enjoyed it. I really liked looking into things and just instead of just reading the headlines,
Yes.
which so many people do, us included sometimes, and then we look into it and then dive in.
It's a completely different story sometimes. So for the listeners and for everyone, let's do a bit, because we are going to be talking a lot about relationships in this episode, specifically because when we started dating, you weren't a vegan.
Correct.
Right? And we went through that mental obstacle course of me figuring out how to be with someone who doesn't share exactly the same values as you at that time, which was quite a bit of an Olympic situation. It had its challenges and it had its pros, I think, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
Correct.
But so we get to know you a little bit. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is that all right?
I'm scared.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, pizza.
Any type of pizza?
No, just all pizza.
Yeah.
I like that you can put all of your favorite foods on it.
This is true.
It can be so different every time.
So you're an
Sure.
environmentalist. I would say you're an environmental activist.
You
and
changed the tune very quickly.
I did. Why are you so passionate about the planet?
Great question. I'm not really sure. I've always cared about the environment, the animals, the place that we live. Never enjoyed seeing people litter. Never enjoyed seeing rubbish in the ocean. I like that we live in such a beautiful country. Like if you experience going overseas and seeing the rubbish that you can find all over Asia, and we experienced it in Egypt, it was horrific. So you come back to Australia and you're just so happy that you live somewhere like this, and I want to keep it this way. But then, you eventually read into the science about not how bad the world could look, but how bad the world could be. It could be toxic air instead of rubbish on the floor. So then, once you really dive into the impacts the rubbish on the floor could have, it's just detrimental.
It's really circular. It's not one thing and it only affects one thing. It's this whole thing that touches everything. Like from the production, in your example of plastic, it's not just this plastic bottle. This came from somewhere and it has to go somewhere, and it touches everything in the middle.
Yeah. To create the plastic, it was drilled from the earth, then produced, and then it will live on well longer than us and probably end up in an animal's stomach.
You've traveled to 30 countries before the age of 30.
33 countries.
33 countries. Where is the favorite place you've traveled to and why?
Can I have two answers?
I will allow it.
Thank you. So pre being with you, it would have been Greece. It was so beautiful. It had the party aspect. It had the pleasure. Like, it had just the hotels are amazing. The people are amazing. The food, everything. Loved it. You know, being able to go out onto a boat and just jump into the ocean. But I would have to say recently Fiji. That was such a good trip. We went out to 3 different islands?
Yeah, 3 islands.
It was amazing.
I agree. I love that. And I love
the food wasn't amazing,
No,
was
the
it?
food wasn't great. We literally ate so much. We had good fruit, but really it was just baked beans on toast after that.
We had a lot of baked beans.
So last month we talked a lot about going plastic free, I think, and our discovery of holy crap, everything's. And as you guys can see, if you're watching the video, we bought new bottles from Frank Green.
Shout out to Frank Green.
Not sponsored, but they had really nice metal ones. They've got a plastic contraption. Yeah, all right, ceramic.
Yeah.
It's got a plastic contraption to drink the water. We found that we couldn't really.
It was near on impossible to find a bottle that was easy to drink out of and it didn't have any leakage. That was the problem. The plastic is what held the water inside, unless you wanted that bottle that you've got.
But even then, it's got the one that's the screw tops, kind of like they've got a thread. They've got a silicone there, so you can't really.
So yeah, plastic's just stopping the leakage, which, you know, if it's 2 to 5% plastic, we just dealt with that, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, I think what was really important is that the plastic itself wasn't really touching the water. So when you just have the bottle there, it's I think is it steel or ceramic on the inside? I'm not too sure. It's insulated.
Stainless steel.
But it's not plastic, which prior to this, we had the BPA-free Tupperware bottles.
Yes.
And we've kind of gone away from that. And we got the same matching keep cups.
I feel like we changed a lot really quickly.
Yeah, we got rid of, we swapped a lot of stuff. And the stuff, we didn't just throw it out. So just disclaimer, we're going to sell it to someone who wants it, who maybe isn't at this stage of plastic awareness. Just to keep that circular economy going, and we're donating a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, so we actually got jars from someone that was moving out.
Seriously.
How good was that?
Yeah, I went downstairs to go recycle some stuff and I saw a note, we're moving out, we can't be bothered selling this stuff, text me if you want glass jars and bottles. I'm like, oh, sweet. And
which are obviously free for them anyway, so you could tell that they were recycled, but they were beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah. Seriously, and I texted them, and 5 minutes later we had 2 big boxes of just glass containers. We spent a whole day cleansing these jars.
You did a really good
I
job.
did. Tried as much as I could, and just swapped everything to like glass. And we could also funny is we could tell that those people were vegan because they had like vegan A's. They had a bunch
almond butter.
Yeah. Classic. So
yeah, we've made a huge change. Great.
It feels good to not have so much we talk about it a lot, like I'm a bit plastic phobic at this stage.
Yeah. In that same time we got a compost, so we weren't having much waste at all.
Yeah, we were like, I think I haven't emptied the bins for 2 weeks because we weren't producing any waste.
How good is that?
Because we're mostly whole foods, all the rubbish just went into the compost, and on the off chance that we buy like some plastic thing, we take that back to the shops to recycle that. And we were just producing almost nothing in terms of waste.
I love that.
Yeah. So just about taking small steps, I think, is a really big takeaway.
We took such a big step in 1 month.
It felt good to take a big step because for us, let's be honest, the big step was just buying a composting.
Yeah.
$60 Australian, which is like $40 US, 35 euro, something like that. And it's just sat outside on our balcony. We just put a compost in, put the spray in. That's it.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways to recycle your compost. For us, it was just a friend, but you can go on websites, there's apps, just Google compost near me or anything like that. And I'm sure you'll find a way to get that done.
How exciting.
Very exciting. Before I get into the juice of news, I actually want to read a review.
Oh.
This new Apple iTunes review is from Francisco Ferrare. I'm so sorry if I've butchered your surname. From Spain. I'm not super affluent.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, not that bad. So the title was one of the best podcasts out there on living a plant-based lifestyle. It's a bit of a lengthy one, but I do want to give it full props. Obviously 5-star. We don't accept anything less. The Plant Paradigm podcast is, in my opinion, one of the best podcasts on topics related to living in a sustainable as manner as possible by focusing on a vegan/plant-based lifestyle. This podcast shows again and again that being fully vegan, or at the very least very plant predominant, is best not only for our personal health but also the health of the planet and for improving the well-being of all sentient animals that share this beautiful and yet endangered planet with us. Furthermore, Tom is a great host, a great listener who asks clever and pertinent questions in the same geese as Simon Hill from the Plant Proof podcast. Another great show from Down Under I regularly listen to. Thanks, mate. Smiley face.
How nice.
That is a really nice review. Like, we've got a few reviews in the database and they're all amazing, but that is
so kind.
Incredibly kind. I'm very humbled to be compared to Simon Hill. Definitely a huge inspiration and respect to him. So I really appreciate the review. Francisco, absolute legend. If you do enjoy the show and you listen to us on Apple or iTunes, please consider leaving a review. It helps out on the algorithm heaps, so that people know and this show gets promoted on the algorithms as a way that we can promote health, longevity, plastic-free, climate solutions that we can all bestow upon each other. But shall we get cracking with the month?
Whew.
Ladies first. What do you got for us?
Oh, I'm nervous.
For those listening to the Monthly Paradigm, this is the second rendition, so we're usually going to go through news, so all the new things that happen.
In the last month.
In the last month, 30 days or so, both good and bad. And let's get Shan. Let's kick us off.
I normally bring the good news stories.
At the end.
You bring the doom
I've
and
got,
gloom.
No, you know what? From last week, since I cracked on your good news story a little bit, I brought some good news stories of my own.
Whoa!
I know.
I'm excited for that.
I know, but I've got I've got a mix. I've got a good mix.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll kick us off with a bit of doom.
Okay, go.
Rain has fallen for the first time ever in the highest place in Greenland. Have you read about this?
I did.
Did you?
It's not on my list.
Okay. I thought this was super important.
Yeah.
Like, this is really alarming experts. The amount of ice that was lost in one day is what they would expect to lose in 1 week at this time of year.
That's incredible.
That is horrific. The first time ever they've had rain.
Mm.
Can you believe that?
What is that? Does that just mean that there's just extenuated heat there, essentially?
Well, it's not normally, yeah. So it's the climate crisis that's just accelerating.
I wonder what the impact is on the immediate environment there. Like, obviously, the animals that have been there for millions of years are not expecting this to happen.
No, it will be gradual, so they hopefully won't notice it right now. But eventually there will be no ice for the polar bears to live on, the seals to rest on. Like, that's what they're expecting eventually.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. On that note, like, a new IPCC report came out as well, and I'm sure they'll dive into that. They didn't actually obviously dive into very specific situations, but what I found interesting about the IPCC report is they, for the first time ever, were very clear about what humans have done. Because usually when you're thinking of science, it's like, this is associated, this could be correlated, this may be the reason.
Be,
correct.
Maybe.
Whereas in this particular report, which I'm 20 pages in now out of the 3,000, they used very powerful words. Like, humans have unequivocally altered and raised the state of climate change. Humans are responsible for X.
It's about time.
Oh.
You see the Industrial Revolution, the 50s, and you see everything just skyrocket.
Absolutely.
Everything. It's just unbelievable.
So I'm really keen to read the rest of it so I can update.
Let us know.
Yeah, let you guys know. Because I've heard the word around the street is that they're releasing another one, which is just on what humans have done. Like, because this one, it's like they released, it's basically a fact sheet for 3,000 pages. It's literally dot point format. And they've said things like every decade since the 1850s, which is where they really started tracking it. They didn't track it before then. Every decade has been warmer than the last decade.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And so it's just a bunch of facts that are really quite alarming, but I really want to see when they come out with what humans have specifically done.
And are they going to come out with solutions?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
So that's the word on the street. I think the IPCC has said that. I don't know when. From memory, I think it was late 2021. So I will keep that updated.
Well, I did read something Dr. Andrew Little posted the other day that the IPCC, is it IPCC? Yeah.
Interplanetary Government Panel of Climate Change.
Yeah. So they were saying it's, Meatless Monday is something of the past. It's now got to be Meatless Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They said that the recommended amount that could be sustained is 28 grams of red meat.
In between 25 and 30 grams.
Which is like 1 or 2 servings per week. But no one's
eating that.
No.
You go to the restaurants, 500 grams.
That's right. No. It's too much.
Yeah, it's not time to kind of play fluff ball around it. It's time to really take this seriously. And I think this is where there's time, and then this is a time and place to be unapologetic about it. It's a time to have these impactful conversations with friends and family. It's time to be like, what, instead of being like, oh, include the conversations of what music have you been listening to? Have you seen the state of the planet?
Yeah. It's such a hard topic though, because you do just put people off with it because you're making them feel like they're bad people. No, they're not bad people. It's just that they aren't educated about it.
Yeah, that's right. And our role is to educate people.
Yeah. In a non-pushy vegan way.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, you don't have to talk about veganism if you don't want to. Energy is responsible for 47%. And while animal agriculture is responsible for 17%, it's still an incredibly huge amount. Talk about walking more. Talk about plastic production. Talk about these other things. If you don't want to talk about veganism, talk about something else. But on the note of another change, have you seen what's happened in Japan?
No.
Torrential rain. One of the biggest floods I've ever had, especially in this time of year. It doesn't usually happen over there.
I was going to say, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so torrential rain lashed much of Japan. Buildings underwater, cars. 3 people died.
Wow.
As part of like a landslide in, where was this? Nagano Prefecture. So it was incredible. So a lot of the southernmost main island of Kyushu have seen record levels of rainfall. Heaps of rivers overflowing. They've got landslides, mudslides. Everything's getting buried. So it's incredible. Like if you look at videos, and I'll put up a video now, you see people walking in water like that's up to their chest.
They don't know what's in that water.
Absolutely
either.
not.
It's dirty water. It's not clean and clear.
There was a doctor in the precinct whose clinic was flooded, and he's quoted, "I've experienced 3 floods like this so far, but this is the worst." And scientists came out and claimed that, in quotes, "Climate change is intensifying the risk of heavy rain in Japan and elsewhere because a warmer atmosphere holds more water." So Japan's really getting affected quite badly, and they're very prone to rainfall because of the humidity. So they're expecting floods, and a lot of their infrastructure, where possible, is built to withstand it. And looking at the footage of these, the flow of the water tackling these bridges, I'm shocked that their bridges are still standing. So they're there, but it's going on the road. Like it's just an incredibly horrific sight.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because my next news story is about flash flooding in Europe.
Oh, whereabouts?
Germany, Belgium, Switzerland, and the Netherlands.
Summertime.
Crazy. End of summer, midsummer.
Yeah.
End of July, start of August is when these floods were happening, right? Worst flash flooding in decades.
Right.
Like, it's just happening everywhere. Over 200 people died.
Whoa. Is
Yeah.
this in one location or over Europe?
Over Europe.
Right. Still
So
a lot
over
of people.
over those countries. It is a lot of people.
Mm.
Almost 1,000 people injured. Obviously, lots of animals
Yeah.
have suffered as well. London included. So they were getting thunderstorms, flooding, rainfall, huge. I saw some photos, and you know how they've got the underground train stations?
Yeah.
The water was almost full.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, so dangerous.
Mm.
You wouldn't have been able to use those train stations at all. But something cool that was happening in Scotland because of these flash floodings, they've built a beaver tunnel.
What do you mean?
Specifically that. It's a
For
beaver.
beavers?
Yes. So they, in like their underground railway,
Yeah.
the beavers were doing, I'm not sure what they were doing, but they were doing something to cause flooding. So they must have had pipes and stuff. So the beavers were actually blocking these pipes. So flooding was happening because of them. So they've built them a beaver tunnel in the same railway area, but for them to transport. Apparently this place in Scotland has huge amounts of beaver populations. But yeah, it's a really safe way for them to relocate
That's
and not
really cool.
wreck like the current train situation, for everyone to coexist.
Yeah, what an awesome coexist story. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times you're like, this animal's in my way, just
Yeah.
get rid of that population.
But
That's
no,
really
that's
cool.
not what they've done in Scotland. So it's for other animals as well, like
Yeah.
specifically otters and
Yeah, yeah.
beavers. But yeah, they've got such a big population of beavers that they thought this is a good thing.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. So good things come out of bad things, but
Yeah, they definitely can. And I'm actually not surprised that this is happening in Europe, because when we're looking at the IPCC report, they had a graph of every region of the world in the globe, and they color coded it to worsened by climate change, same, or better.
really, that's a really interesting thing. I would love to look at that.
It's all red.
Oh, the whole world.
Yeah, the whole world. So every
Yeah, okay.
part of the world is worse.
Right.
And they use conservative measures.
Wow.
There was a few places that were grey, meaning not enough data,
Yeah.
which is like I think Pakistan was one of them, like
Right.
these countries that didn't have a whole lot of funding to look at these scientists
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, the whole world was getting effects. North America, South America, Australia,
Well,
South
it doesn't
America.
surprise me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how Queensland will hold up come their wet season.
Yeah. There's always horrific cyclones. There's flooding here. Last time there was a flooding, there's like bull sharks over the place that were flooded from the rivers. Like,
How terrifying.
I know, just imagine a bull shark rocking up. That poor thing.
Oh, it would be all as equally terrified. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Queensland,
Oh,
have you heard what's happening here?
great segue.
So Queensland is where we live at the moment, but Queensland is banning single-use plastics as of, I think, 1st September. So,
Wow.
win for the state.
What does that mean?
Let me tell you what that means.
Okay.
So, there is a lot of, I want to give him credit, but it's a little bit of a small step.
Mm-hmm.
They say ban single-use plastics, but they're really not.
No.
So supply of single-use plastics includes plastic straws, stirrers, plates, bowls, cutlery, expanded polystyrene, takeaway food containers, and cups. So that's what's going to be in the ban. And the plastic items not included in the ban: straws and cutlery attached to a shelf-ready prepackaged product like a juice box with an attached plastic straw, or a yogurt with an attached plastic spoon.
So like up and go, for
Up and go,
example.
YoPro, whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, how can you affect businesses like that? I'm not sure.
But wouldn't it save Up and Go a lot of money to just be like, no, we're not going to do plastics
gonna-
anymore, and
yeah.
you just cut it open or something? How hard would that be?
Not very hard for the effect on the environment it can have.
figured.
Not very hard at all. What else is not included in the ban? Other single-use plastic takeaway containers, including sushi containers, triangle sandwich containers, food containers with a plastic window, and bowls with lids. So that's, I'm not understanding.
These things could all be,
Paper.
cardboard. I understand bowls with lids because the lids are generally plastic.
Yeah.
But, how many times have you found a salad in one of those cardboard, like, Asian noodle boxes? That's fine.
Seriously. We've got serving platters and trays. They can still be plastic. I'm not sure what context that means.
Yeah, right.
And foam or plastic trays such as meat and packaged fruit and vegetable trays. So not a lot. That's like your punnets of strawberries, punnets of blueberries. And they've also got criteria of who could still use plastic, which is all your medical fields. So hospitals, dental clinics, medical clinics, pharmacies, aged care, medical suppliers, anyone who needs to provide care to a person with a disability.
I feel like, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like hospitals might just be the only people that need to have plastic.
There's
for safety and hygiene reasons.
Yeah, for sure. I think where I would change your wording is maybe have single use, because we have bioplastics, which I'm sure would be a very suited alternative to use cornstarch or pineapple or whatever it is.
But just as well as I do, how do you dispose of them without, like, you have to put them in these big biograde composts.
Correct.
Where?
But looking at the cost of the environment, I think
to produce it,
if they're willing to take this step, that means that it is at least something going in the right direction. I think funding for a few compost situations, and even, God forbid, you have some sort of a garden at a hospital.
Normally they do.
That produces food for the guests, not guests, the
God.
patients. There's lots of alternatives that don't take too much creativity. The funding is there. I'm not silly, Queensland government. I can see that you have funding.
Get up in their grill.
I know you're listening. No, these cities, they have the funding. They just, hospitals are about 10 years behind current solutions.
Yeah, I think the medical field is the only field that I would accept them getting away with it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I probably don't see any other field, like sushi boxes, really.
Oh, ridiculous.
Come on.
That could go in a cardboard
That could go in a
box.
paper bag, like.
Oh, I don't know. Paper bag? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, not a problem. Don't worry about it. Oh, speaking of plastic free, tell us about the banana bread. Tell us the story of our banana bread, on how we got rid of the plastic. I was meant to do like an Instagram story this morning, but I completely forgot.
So, we always go to this one, we should find out their name. This one place at Burleigh Market. And after going there for months, we just realised that it's Glad wrap, and that's going to last forever. It is going to outlive us. So we are amongst our plastic free freakish month, we went to them and asked, is it possible for us to not get it in plastic? She said that it was fine and that they would put it in a paper bag. We went back the next week and she said it wasn't possible because the paper bag wouldn't hold the moisture. Was that the reason?
Pretty much.
And then so she asked us to bring her a container. So we brought her a container, and the next week after that, she put the bread in the container and gave us our banana bread, plastic free.
Plastic free.
How good is that?
It only takes a conversation. So this was a farmer's market that had vegan banana bread that we loved but didn't want to use the Glad wrap.
And she even thanked us for being kind to the planet because of that.
Like, you don't need to be embarrassed to have these conversations like that. That's awesome that we took a situation in which we were having Glad wrap and just had that conversation. And you can do that with anyone. Like, we've gone and we don't have spinach in plastic anymore because we made one phone call. Hey, do you know a market or a stall that does spinach that we can bring our own paper bag or our own container and just pop it straight in there? And now that is a thing. So we are just consuming less and less. But I think that banana bread story is huge because a lot of people would be too embarrassed to ask or just automatically think it's not possible.
We even had the option, you know, those silicon baking trays that it is still plastic, but obviously it's not single-use plastic. So, yeah, that's even something we'll consider another week. But she's actually kept our container and will continue to give us the banana bread every week. So
How
excited.
good is that? Yeah. Have you heard of Unpaper?
Unpaper.
Unpaper.
No.
Like Unpaper. I actually saw this today. It's really bizarre. And it's another spin on you don't have to use toilet paper. So I will eventually, I think, in our forever home, have a bidet.
Yeah.
Or just a composting toilet, whatever it is.
Actually, I was thinking about that the other day because we've just gotten a composting toilet in our new home, right?
Yeah.
What do we do with the toilet paper?
I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Can you compost toilet paper? Probably.
It's paper. Well, at the moment we use Who Gives a Crap,
Yes.
which is like recycled paper. And they have a bamboo option, so
Yes,
maybe
they
we'll just
do.
switch to the bamboo option because bamboo would be compostable.
You don't think paper is?
Paper is. It should be all right.
So it should be fine.
Yeah, thinking so.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone has any answers.
Yes,
Please
let us know.
please let us know. But Unpaper is essentially a piece of fabric, and you roll them up all on top of each other. So it's like the size of half a tea towel, and you just keep rolling up. Eventually, it becomes the size of a toilet roll, and you put it on your little toilet thing, and you grab it, and this little fabric comes on. You do what you got to do, and you put it in a wet bag that goes in the laundry, and you put it back on.
Yeah.
You're not liking this?
I don't know.
I mean, my first thought is like, man, like we're eating like 50 grams of fiber a day. We don't go toilet once every 3 days like some other people. We're going like 3 times a day, maybe. You know,
I
like
suppose it's not that different to cloth nappies. Like if we were to have a child, we absolutely would not have single-use nappies.
no, that is horrific. Yeah,
So we'd have cloth nappies. I don't know how you deal with them though. Like what do you do?
I'm not sure, but like you're right. I think it's the same situation. I think people who can do cloth nappies can do this Unpaper thing.
Yeah. And it's not like obviously in the Unpaper you would have a lot of poop.
No, right. Hopefully you have minimal.
Yeah.
And maybe on a good day it's a clean wipe. You know?
Maybe.
No, so yeah, I wanted to see what how you felt about that.
We'd have to do washing probably more often.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this thing will have to be a whole load. Or like, because how many do you need?
Or
like,
you think you can't wash them with other things.
maybe you could. I'm not sure. And like, would it be like, I'd have to look at what the fabric is. Does it have plastic? Does that plastic is going to leach into the... There's so much to look into. But it just looked like cotton fabric.
Oh, I'm sure you'd be able to get it cotton or bamboo.
Pretty cool concept though. I'd never heard of such a thing.
Makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does. I think a bidet is still probably cooler, but
Didn't you say that we could get like an attachment?
yeah, you can get an attachable bidet for about $70, and then no more toilet paper. I don't know what happens to the wetness. I'm not sure if you just use your undies and shorts or whatever for that, but it's a solution.
Yeah, what do Europeans do about that?
I don't know. We've got more questions than we do answers this month.
That's so funny.
What's your next story?
My next story is about the UK again. And it is not a nice story. So animal testing could actually be returning after 20 years of it being banned.
What? Why in the world would they do that?
For safety reasons. So this is for cosmetics, right? So
Of course.
makeup and things like that. Don't you think you've done enough testing? Cosmetics have been around for how long? Just keep using the same thing.
I know. That's really bad.
Yeah, for 20 years it's been banned. And now they're considering bringing it back. The UK government want to bring it back for safety reasons. But they did do a survey last year. A UK charity did it. And they found 84% of people that responded would not buy a cosmetic product if they knew it had been tested on animals.
84%.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that
So why would you bring it back? You're going to lose such a huge market.
seriously. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So it's pretty sad.
That is pretty sad.
Especially now that there's so much more exposure. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
After what's that little
Ricky
animation?
Gervais
Yeah,
and Zac Efron's that bunny rabbit. What
Fred?
was his name? Ralph. Save Ralph.
Yeah, that was a really sad little animation.
I did not expect that when watching it. If you haven't seen it, do it. It's really sad.
Reality.
Yeah.
Should I just get another sad story out of the way?
Do it.
Let's do it. So last month we talked about the Eye of Fire, which went on in the Gulf of Mexico. Huge spill, some sci-fi looking thing. Pretty horrific. And I hope I don't have to touch on it every bloody month, but another huge spill happened.
You're joking.
Trinidad and Tobago, so off the Gulf of Paria. So
what beautiful areas.
This is really disgusting. I'll put the video up in between us. And it is like you see someone put their hand into the water and it comes out black like a glove.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
you cannot see their skin.
So it's an
all.
oil spill that's happened.
Hundreds.
Wow.
A huge one recently, but it's been hundreds.
But it hasn't caught fire.
Hasn't caught fire yet. However, it is killing people.
Oh, of course. Not just people, animals.
Well, that's how they're killing people.
Ecosystems.
That's it. This has been caused by Paria Fuel Trading Company Limited. And if you think that's bad, and I thought this is as worst as it can get, not only have they not taken responsibility, but they've sent boats into the Gulf that have just basically got their engine on full throttle, cutting the oil so that it drops to the bottom of the ocean so they can pollute more and so it's less noticeable.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So, and this is caught on, this isn't like conspiracy or anything. They caught it on camera.
These people are evil.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific. And there's not much going on in terms of government liaison with this company. And there was actually a study done by the University of Trinidad and Tobago, which was carried out over 5 years, that confirmed without a doubt that the fish in the Gulf of Paria may pose a cancer risk to consumers. And why exactly that is because
they're consuming oil?
Yeah. Well, the actual compound is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAH, which is commonly found in petroleum.
Surprise, surprise.
I know. So pretty horrific. And you just see this fisherman going out and just filming the oil and just putting their hands in and just showing, like, it's just crazy. I'll put a link to everything we're talking about, including this in the show notes. It's pretty scary to watch, and there's just no corporate remorse. It's pretty sad, especially for like if you think the Caribbean, it's just stunning. And not anymore.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Covers miles and miles of just oil water.
I feel sorry for the people that live there.
Like, I don't know if that would work, but I almost think you could just light a match, just chuck it in, the whole thing would just go up in flames.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so and fish are living in that. People are catching it. Obviously, fishermen are then selling it. That's their livelihood. Obviously, you think Caribbean, how much they rely on seafood. Like, that's going into their kids. That's going into their pregnant women. Like, that's really affecting their generation. So it's pretty sad what these petroleum companies are doing around the world. So it's not just specifically Mexico or the Caribbean. This is happening in Australia. This is happening in America. This is happening in Europe.
It's actually happening in Victoria, which can segue to my next story. The government in Victoria, where we were originally from, down south of Australia, has given consent for a gas company to extract gas from beneath the 12 Apostles.
Right.
which is a beautiful tourist spot.
So for those who don't know where that is, when you think of Victoria, you've got like the Great Ocean Road, which is like this insanely gorgeous coastal drive that
One
goes
of the best drives,
Yeah.
honestly, so beautiful. And at the very end of that drive is the 12 Apostles, which is like limestone.
Yeah, it's limestone rocks. I've been there for, I couldn't tell you. I think
There's
over
only
millions.
7 left now.
Yeah,
I
is it
think
7? I thought it was 5.
Yeah, 7 left. But it is such a beautiful site. But now we'll have massive oil drills 5Ks from there.
5K, so that's well visible in eyesight.
Absolutely. So our climate change minister actually signed off on this and gave consent.
Yeah, of course.
So they needed consent from her. She gave it.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. Didn't even blink about it. So it'll be underneath the Port Campbell National Park.
That's
Insane.
pretty scary.
It's horrible. It's really
It is a
horrible to think.
beautiful area, and to think it could be ruined is pretty bad.
And then that just goes to show that's going to affect our wildlife. That's going to affect our ecosystems.
Huge wildlife out there. You've got whales, we've got penguins, we've got dolphins.
Yeah.
Like there is
We're
so
very
much.
lucky here in Australia. There's so much wildlife, marine life, but
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
yeah.
Do you want to hear something funny?
Is it going to make me laugh?
It's going to make you feel a little bit sad, but also kind of funny.
Okay.
I was actually chatting to someone on Twitter
Yeah.
at Plant Paradigm. I'm just going to plug that. And so they posted like, people don't know where milk comes from. I'm like, what do you mean people don't know what milks come from? And they sent me this article, and I dived into it and make sure it wasn't like one of those fake articles. The Innovation Center for US Dairy conducted a study that polled 1,000 Americans online between May 5th and May 9th, 2017. Responses came from all states, and the regional response was fairly even. And 7% of people didn't know. They thought chocolate milk comes from brown cows. 7% of people thought chocolate milk came from brown cows. I don't have the stat here, but it was like 47% didn't know.
Are you sure that they're not just like mucking around?
It wasn't published, so it wasn't like a published scientific study. It was more. This is funded by the dairy
Survey.
industry. This isn't what they want. This is the opposite of what they want. Yeah, it's just a survey. 47% had no idea.
That is what the dairy industry want. Because once you find out what happens to the cows in the dairy industry, that could turn you off milk for life.
Yeah. Where are these brown cows that just see chocolate milk? Could you imagine
Oh,
believing that?
calf would be very happy.
Oh, I'd be the happiest calf ever. Oh, that's funny.
Speaking of those, Oatly's chocolate milk,
Oh my God, so good.
phenomenal.
Yeah, shout out to Oatly for their chocolate milk. It's so good. And that actually led me to another study, which was done in 1990. So this was a bit ago, 20 years, which was the Department of Agriculture.
1990 was 20 years ago.
30.
I know.
Sorry, 30 years ago. That surveyed 2005 individuals that showed that nearly 1 in every 5 adults didn't know that hamburgers are made from beef.
You're joking.
They just didn't know.
They just thought it was, different, like maybe a pig?
I read
like,
the paper, and it was incredibly old, and they just,
Yeah.
the answer was, I don't know.
Okay. Wow. So people really don't care where their food
don't
come
care.
from.
They really don't. Oh, well, this is 1 in 5, so I don't want to say people don't care. This is quite, like, it's obviously not the majority, but still, I'm more shocked about the brown cows. That's my... Do you have any other news stories?
One other not a doom story. We haven't really spoken about vaccines and COVID all that much
No.
on this podcast, and we don't want to give our views or whatever. But there is a lot of talk about vaccines not being mandatory for vegans. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, you mentioned it to me. I was pretty shocked.
Yeah, like I am too. So companies like Google and Netflix have made it mandatory to get the vaccine before returning back to the office. So I'm pretty sure this is in the UK specifically. But apparently ethical veganism was ruled as a protected characteristic at the tribunal last year. So it will not be mandatory. So a lot of anti-vax people are claiming to be vegan, so it doesn't become mandatory for them.
Well, if they ever see them eating meat, sorry, you got to get the vax.
Yeah, I don't know how that will work.
Yeah, that's
really... it's fake meat.
Yeah, like you don't have like something, just like religion, you can't prove.
No.
Well, I mean, I think with veganism, it's a bit more obvious. Like nobody goes to work if you're like whatever religion, they don't see you praying, prove it. But if they see you eating meat, you're like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But there is going to be a plant-based vaccine coming out.
Oh, really?
Yes. Of course, it is still tested on animals because even the other vaccines don't have animal products in them. It doesn't need to be mandatory for vegans because it was tested on animals. So this plant-based one is still tested on animals. So I imagine this would still be part of it. But
right.
I feel like, I don't know much about vaccines, but I feel like, well, they're claiming that it will be cheaper, faster and safer because it is made from plants.
That sounds great.
Again, they're at phase 3 clinical trials.
Right.
So it's not quite there yet, but they're thinking it will be available in the US and Canada soon.
That's great news.
Maybe.
That's not doom so much.
No, but
True.
it is still being tested on monkeys.
I want to share some cool news.
Okay.
I got accepted my application got accepted through the Guinness World of Records to attempt to do 26,000 squats in 24 hours.
You're a crazy man.
Yeah, it's really, really exciting. I really want to add another vegan onto the Guinness World of Records. Why not? I do like squats, as some of you may know, and I do like exercising. So that is why I wanted to apply, just as a bit of a challenge and, of course, to kind of prove plant power. So what that kind of means is to do the 26,000 squats, it's 20 squats a minute or one squat every 3 seconds for the 24 hours. And that's obviously with no breaks. So I'll be formulating a technical plan on how to structure the day, whether that's one squat every 2 seconds. And then that gives me like a half an hour. I don't know how the toilet break will work. So I'll be eating. I don't want to be eating gels for that 24 hours. I want to be actually eating food.
No way.
So like burritos. I'm thinking like burrito bowl.
You've already planned out your meal.
No, well, burrito bowls can be. I know Scott Jurek, when he ran across America, he was eating burritos like almost on the daily, because you can pack in so much nutrition into that.
Just like pizza.
Just like pizza, exactly. So I don't know. There's a huge list of criteria from Guinness. I need to have like 2 cameras set up. My leg needs to be parallel to the ground before I get up. And when I get up, I have to be fully straight and then back down. I have to have 2 witnesses at all times that cycle through 4-hour rotations. Like there's so much going on. I need to have a screen or something to show how many squats I'm up to at that time. So I need like a TV. I need to do it in a public place. So there's a lot to go into it. But I'm really excited. So
this is July 2022.
Yeah, that's right. 31st of July 2022 is when I will be attempting the record. It's currently held by an elderly gentleman. So he's just over 50 and he did 25,000 in...
I wouldn't call him elderly.
It was 57 years old, I think, this lad. So he's not a young whippersnapper.
You might offend some people out there.
All right. Sorry if I offended you. Well, he's double my age. Yeah. Really. And
more
so
than.
just slightly more than double my age. So I'm hoping my knees hold up.
You sound old.
I know, but I'm hoping to get some sort of training plan.
It'll be a good challenge for you.
It'll be a nice challenge.
You did 1,000 squats a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
How do your legs feel?
They hurt. I've just done a lot of leg workouts. Like in the last 3 days, I did a 2-hour bike ride, 1,000 squats, and a leg workout.
And we walked 20 Ks.
And we walked 20 Ks the day before that. So I'm just really pumping him to try to get used to that. That's pretty much my fitness update, actually.
And you've not skipped leg day.
I've not skipped leg day. No, I'm definitely not skipping leg day. I might have skipped upper body a few times.
Don't skip arm day.
No. How's your fitness going? Do you have an update for us? 30 push-ups? Oh, no, your wrist is hurting.
I've had an ultrasound and an x-ray on my hand, so no push-ups for me.
No. But you're still working out.
Yeah, I'm doing upper body on
The machines.
instead, so it doesn't hurt.
Yep. Just keeping healthy.
That's it.
Doesn't have to be so... I love that because it doesn't have to be extreme like me.
No.
To be healthy is just to constantly show up and just have a healthy routine.
I feel like you're doing it unhealthily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I am healthy with unhealthy habits.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Shall we get into relationship talk?
Sure.
Are you ready? I haven't actually told you any of the questions that I
No, I'm pretty scared.
And the reason I really wanted to talk about relationships, especially in like the vegan world, is because you see on Facebook groups all the time, and we get asked sometimes as well, you know, vegans are always like, I would never ever date a non-vegan. And that was 100% me.
It was.
And that's why I see where these people are coming from when they say that, really. Because like we said at the beginning, you want to be with someone that shares your values, your beliefs, your moral compass. These are all things that are incredibly important for longevity in a relationship, I think. So obviously, thinking back retrospectively, I said that to you when we started seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in the headspace that I don't want to date this vegan?
No, that didn't bother me. When you told me that you didn't want to date a non-vegan, I was a little bit offended because I didn't care about your choice, but you seemed to care about my choice.
Mm.
And obviously now, upon education, I realize why. But I still don't think it's a nice way to go about it. You're just ruling it out completely.
Mm. Do you think there's a good way to approach that? Because if you go on a date with someone or you meet someone at the bar or whatever it is, you don't always know. Like you start having this it's not tattooed on your face for some people.
No.
You know, you have this amazing conversation, the connection might be there, but then it's like, can I order a chicken schnitzel? And you're just like, oh, heartbreak, you know?
Is that how it happened?
That's how it happened.
That's not true.
Would you ever go to someone and be like, I don't want to date you because of you're vegan or because you're not a vegan?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Well, you didn't have that issue.
No, you did.
Maybe
we should ask you that question now. But no, like if God forbid something was to happen between you and I and we broke up,
yeah,
I would be open to dating a non-vegan, but I feel like if our values didn't align, then we probably wouldn't last.
Yeah.
Right? Our values were obviously aligned, but I just wasn't educated in that department for my values to align with my actions. I thought I was living by my values, but I wasn't. Right? Would you agree?
Yeah, like I think when you meet someone, and when I met you, you can just see that someone is compassionate by the way that they treat people, by the way that they treat themselves, by the way they carry themselves. And so I think you have a scope of, I mean, we had this conversation early on. It's like, I have to accept you and love you even if you never made that full 100% switch to plant-based.
Yeah.
And I think early on you said to me, I might not ever make that change.
Yeah, I remember saying that to you.
You're like, I might eat mostly plants. Like when I'm home with you, I'll eat 100% plants. But when I go out, I might order something that's not plant-based. And I had to internally accept that. And
I feel like you did.
I did. And I would still love you and we'd still be where we are if that was the case. Because now more than ever understand that 80% plant-based is better than 10% plant-based.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to accept people and love people where they are. And I think the way that I went about it in just saying I accept that and being honest about that, I think that didn't scare you away in a way that's like, oh, he actually does love and accept me. And I think that may have pronged a thought to look into that further.
Well, it was really hard not to educate myself when you're listening to all these podcasts, YouTube videos. You know, you were educating yourself at the same time. And I remember one time I think it was, is it Mike the Vegan?
Yeah, it was Mike the Vegan. I would have had him on the TV.
Yeah. And then you put it on your headphones. And I said to you, you want me to be vegan eventually, but you're hiding away education from me. Wouldn't you want to share it with me?
Sure.
And you're like, yeah, okay, yeah. He's like, but you said something like, but you're not even listening. I'm like, but it's going in.
Yeah,
Like
subconscious.
I'm on my phone or something, but it's going in.
Yeah, but I also think at one stage it's like, at the end of the day, it's my agenda to want people to be plant-based. So I didn't want it to look, it was almost like I didn't want to impose that belief onto you. So I'm like, I'll just put my headphones in. But I think retrospectively, I think it's a good idea to not use headphones so that you're consuming the same information as your partner so that you can keep growing together.
Definitely.
Because in relationships, I can imagine sometimes you both started non-vegans, but eventually as a couple can move into veganism. But imagine the disconnect of one person moved there and one person didn't. And then that can stem from a lot of arguments. So I think listening to information and educating yourselves together, I think was a really important thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's even rubbed off on your family. Like your mum and sister are almost fully vegan now, or at least vegetarian.
Yeah.
That's totally from us. Also, your mum cooking all the beautiful vegan food.
Yeah.
She's going, oh, I can eat this. I can live off this, and I feel good eating it.
Yeah. When you can lose weight without exercising, that's a
Hallelujah moment.
light bulb. Do you think it's fair that vegans don't want to date non-vegans?
No, I don't think it's unfair. Like, I think it depends on a lot of things. If you've got your own places, I know I probably wouldn't want animals being cooked in my kitchen. I wouldn't want to cook any animals. So, and we had this issue at the start of our relationship when we were going out. I was ordering meat. You weren't. You didn't want to pay for my meal.
Yeah.
So
How vegan is that? Yeah.
So I was paying for all of our meals unless I ate vegan, and that's when you would pay.
If that's not activism, I don't know what is.
And it worked.
What a way to force someone to eat vegan food. I will literally pay for you. Yeah.
What forced it is because I didn't want to keep paying.
Yeah, of
How
course.
funny.
Otherwise, it'll be unbalanced.
Yes. So I got to experience, I didn't have to. I could have kept paying for my own food. But I got to experience a yum vegan food out, in Brunswick and Fitzroy when we would go these places. And then I would be like, oh, I know how to make that myself. Yeah. So I would try, and then I fell in love with cooking vegan food.
Yeah, thank God. You're an amazing
You're welcome.
cook. No, I think what's really awesome is that you as a non-vegan would accept that, because for a lot of people, they'd be like, this guy, I know it's like culturally acceptable for the guy to pay, and this is kind of where we're at. He doesn't want to pay for me if I don't like that. I think takes a level of acceptance from both parties.
I thought that's totally fair enough.
Yeah.
Your ethics were not to indulge in animal cruelty.
Do you remember how I raised that up to you?
No.
I think I would have just said, based on my personality, I think I would have just come up to you like, hey, look, I'm happy to pay for you, but I need it to be plants because I don't want my vote to go.
I don't think it was very formal.
Wasn't that formal?
I don't think so. But I think you paid a couple of times and then you were like, it just doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
And I completely understood that.
Yeah. So that was really, and we did move in together before you were vegan as well. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So there wasn't too much meat in, but I actually came to you and I remember this and I said, I don't want animal flesh in the fridge. I said, I'll accept eggs and like cheese in its packets because it doesn't have like a big stench.
We had this conversation before you moved in though.
Yeah. Do you remember how that went and how we worked out the fridge situation?
Well, I think it was my fridge.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, you're moving into my place, but I wanted it to be your place as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I don't think I even had eggs in it ever.
You had eggs in it forever.
No. I reckon when you moved in, I had like a dozen eggs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it was done.
Right.
Do you not think that way?
Maybe I thought it was longer than it was.
Maybe.
But it was quite quickly that it was majority plants in there. But at that stage, we were both eating like burgers, pizza, pasta. Like we were pretty heavy on the mock meats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that was where I was at because I didn't really subscribe to a whole foods plant-based diet at that stage. But it was also a way of showing you, hey, these amazing textures and flavors are available.
You're not missing out on anything.
So it was a way of me kind of meeting you where you are.
Yeah, but also you couldn't cook.
Yeah, I couldn't. I could cook pasta, but simple things.
One sort of
I had
pasta
one
dish.
pasta recipe that I knew off by heart, and I cooked that all the time.
You nailed it. But no, I don't think it's unfair for a vegan to not date a non-vegan. I don't think it's unfair.
Yeah.
I understand it.
Yeah.
But if you really do feel like there's a connection, give them a chance because they probably would educate themselves and make the change on their own behalf. Because I remember saying to you, you would make digs, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that was my next thing that I was going to bring up. So you were quite respectful of me being vegan, and I tried to be as respectful as I could. But when you're seeing someone you love and you care about consuming animal products that you know is harming the environment, the animals, and them, it's really hard not to say something. And so I was saying it maybe too much. And I'd just be like, hey, by the way, that's a dead animal. Just like when you were eating something, just to let you know that had a huge environmental footprint. And I'd just say quirks like that. And eventually we came up with a rule of 3. So I was allowed to bring up something vegan related 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Do you remember what they were?
No.
Just random things.
Yeah, just random.
And I would always say, that's my first one.
Yeah.
That's my second one. That's the third. Oh, Monday's coming around. That's my first one. And I think 3 facts a week, that's a lot of facts.
Were they facts?
Oh, they weren't really facts.
Like
well, they were.
digs.
Hey, you're eating a dead animal. Fact.
Come on.
I think what also really helped is during our relationship, I started this podcast, this was before you were vegan as well. And it started as the How to Travel Vegan podcast. And so my thing to you was, and I was very sly and sneaky about it. Hey, we got to travel around because at this stage we're traveling all over the world. We got to try these amazing foods. You have to order vegan so I can try more food so we can review the places better. And you supported my endeavor of this podcast. So you're like, oh, cool. Okay, I'll just order vegan so he can try my dish too and I can try his dish. Because otherwise, I would maybe have to order more food or whatever it may be.
More money.
And it costs more money. So really, I was just like, let's just order the same food so we can review more. And that's what I think is really cool, going to a place and be like, hey, how about we order a bunch of things that we like the sound of and sharing it?
Yeah. I think that really helped as well because, vegan food has this idea that it's bland and it's boring, but it's really not.
It's not.
Unless you make it that way.
Mm. Do you think there's in a relationship context, is that the least confronting way to do activism or to have that conversation? Like just to share food? Like, you know what I mean? Like you have these documentaries. How would you bring up to your partner, like, hey, I watched this awesome documentary, Game Changers or Cowspiracy or whatever. Obviously tailor the documentary depending on what their values are because hopefully you know their values.
Yeah.
How would you bring that up to not be like, I've got this agenda, come join me?
Well, I feel like you didn't do that very well.
What did I say?
You were like, I think one of your facts was when I was eating meat. Oh, you need to watch Dominion.
Right.
You just wanted me to watch Dominion.
Yeah. because that's what turned me on my vegan journey. The ethical,
So you were trying.
the ethical reasons. So
that.
I was trying. How would you bring it up?
It depends on your relationship. But really, you should be able to have open and honest conversations with your partner. If it's early days, just casually. Yeah, like you said, I watched this great documentary. Would you watch it with me? And just have things on in the background. Have YouTube on in the background, whatever you're listening to. Just have it up out loud. Have the podcast up out loud. You know, if this person is who you think they are, they'll probably make the change by themselves.
Yeah. I think watching docos together is a good idea. Ones that preferably you haven't seen either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because then it's new information for the both of you.
Yeah. And like you said, just pry on what you think will, what's the word I'm looking for? Resonate with them.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think environmental aspects resonate with me more so than anything else. So things like
Seaspiracy,
Seaspiracy for sure.
Cowspiracy. You didn't watch Cowspiracy.
I haven't seen Cowspiracy yet.
But environmental documentaries.
It's hard not to want to make a change after those, isn't it?
Yeah. It is
We
hard.
still didn't finish Dominion, by the way.
No, we haven't. And I had, you know what? I didn't construct the results from the poll from which is your favorite. There is so many documentaries that people recommend that I hadn't heard of.
Great.
So
I actually have one on my list as well.
Oh, which one?
Reductionism?
Reductionism. I have not heard of that. I'm trying to think of like the ones that people said. Let me get out my Instagram. So there was just over 50 comments. So there's a lot of comments. A lot of people really liked Dominion, or that was their favorite vegan documentary. One person commented Babe, the movie.
Oh,
yeah, that made them
what a
go
good one for kids.
I know. Carnage, another
I
one.
haven't seen it.
A lot of people said The Game Changers. As you can
Definitely.
imagine. Like Dominion was on there, Forks Over Knives. Like they were all really, like everyone just connected to a very different documentary, which is exactly what we're talking about. Like everyone's got different values.
Yeah.
The one that was recommended a lot was Running for Good by Fiona Oakes. So Fiona Oakes, from my knowledge, is it's a 4-time Guinness World Record holder. And she's a vegan athlete.
Wow.
And she created this documentary called Running for Good.
Great.
So
all right, we'll add it to the list.
It's on the list. If anyone has any other good vegan documentaries or documentaries that don't have, we love documentaries regardless, as I'm sure you can imagine, send them through. But on the relationship side, do you have any final parting advice on how to date a vegan or non-vegan or anything around that dynamic?
Do it for yourself. Don't change don't become vegan for someone else. I don't think that's going to work. That's not going to work for either party. Resentment will start to happen because you can't do what you want. You feel you're being controlled. Like, how long were we together before I became vegan?
I have no idea, but I think it might have been even like 2 years.
Nearly.
Or a year and a half, yeah.
So I was mostly vegan from August 2019.
So it took a year to get you mostly plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or less than. But I did it for myself. I didn't do it for you, and that's how I knew it would stick better if I did it for me and I didn't do it for you. I didn't want to put that on you.
Yeah, I love
that. And I know you didn't want to put that on me because you still loved me regardless of my choices, but you knew that I was a compassionate person, so you knew that if you tugged on that heartstring, it would work. But I did it in my own time.
Yeah. I think I like that a lot, especially in terms of relationship and building that resentment. It's like I'm doing this for that other person. It's like you can't build your beliefs, which is the foundation of the decision you make every day, on someone else. Because if something happens with that someone else, your whole beliefs and foundation and compass of life is shattered.
Yeah. And that's why I always said, I'm like, I would never want to go back if we were to have separated. And I won't.
It's good. Well, that's the relationship segment done.
Woo.
It's awesome. Now the relationship part is over. Shall we get to the feel-good stories?
Sure.
Kick us off.
Okay. I've actually only got 3.
Okay, I've got 2.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
I'll start. This is actually really old news. So, since about May 2019, supermarkets in Vietnam and Thailand have been swapping out plastic on their fresh fruit produce and using banana leaves.
That is cool.
Yeah. So, they're trying to protect the cucumbers and things like that still, which plastic bags don't really do anyway.
No.
But, yeah, they're wrapping it in banana leaves.
That's cool.
Which they have an abundance of.
Yeah, of course. There's a cafe in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, that serves all their food in banana leaves.
I love that.
Yeah. Because it's free for them. They would just be able to find it on the side of the road or from markets that they don't use it and they don't have to pay for these
banana
plates.
trees have to get chopped down after they're harvested.
Correct.
So all of these banana leaves would just go to waste otherwise. So, yeah. May 2019. Old news, but I only found out about it this month, so I thought I'd share it.
Oh, thanks for sharing. That is a good story. Good alternative. My first feel-good story is actually about NBA superstar Kyrie Irving. So he's a beast of a player. He was, in his 2011 rookie year, he was named Rookie of the Year. So he's a very well-known player. He actually built a solar water center in Pakistan that's providing clean, healthy water to 1,000 villages.
That's amazing.
Yeah. 1,000 people have access to clean water because of this man. All the time. I'm not sure how the filter works. There wasn't too much information around it. It's in partnership with another charity, but essentially from what I know, this solar compound or center literally filters out the water and pumps out clean, free water for these people.
That's wonderful.
And Pakistan, of all places, need it.
Yeah. It's so interesting how, I feel like a lot of superstars and famous people get involved in clean water.
They do.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's as if they've maybe travelled and seen that was a real problem.
Yeah. He's not from a Pakistani background, to my knowledge, so it was quite random. But even like Jaden Smith,
yes,
he started all these water. He's in Flint, Michigan. He started
the
machine thing, which we watched a documentary on. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
And there's a few
Matt
other.
Damon.
Yeah.
Got involved. He's got a charity.
There's a lot happening with water with these countries, which is awesome.
I suppose it's a fundamental need, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
A
so
human
the whole thing,
need.
we can last longer without food than without water.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What's next?
Plant-based diet linked to 84% drop in menopausal symptoms.
Menopausal symptoms being like pain.
More like hot flushes.
Right.
So they say that a soy-rich diet will reduce your extreme hot flushes down to none to medium.
Yeah. You know what? I did hear about this because Mike the Vegan did a video on it and I happened to watch it. And that wasn't just menopausal, that was flushes. Like anyone who gets flushes.
Well, this study in particular was on women between 45 or around that 45 years old age bracket because of menopause. So this was a study published by the North American Menopause Society, this one in particular, in the journal Menopause. The study found that a vegan diet rich in soy reduced moderate to severe hot flushes by 84% from around 5 a day to less than 1 per day.
That's a huge, huge difference, especially because soy...
It's so uncomfortable getting hot... Well, I've never really experienced it, hot flushes in hormones, but you just, how uncomfortable would that be? 5 per day.
Incredibly uncomfortable. And the fact that they have linked soy, which is commonly known, or maybe less commonly now, is because of the phytoestrogenic compounds. It's got the word estrogen in there, so that contributes to weight gain and all these things, which is all myths and been busted long ago.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see more news like that coming through.
Soy is not our enemy.
Yeah.
More on that. Nearly 60% of women found that their moderate to severe hot flushes completely disappeared after the 12-week study period. And all types of hot flushes decreased by 79%.
That's awesome.
Participants also reported improvements in their mood, sleep, and energy levels. Several individuals also said their digestion improved and they lost weight. That sounds like a whole life change in 12 weeks.
This is obviously not tracking exercise either. Imagine adding a healthy amount of exercise in there.
This is just a plant-based diet.
That's really cool. So another reason to eat more plants.
Women, listen up.
Listen up. My next story is the opposite of what your UK story with the live testing on animals for cosmetics. France is the first country in the world, along with Germany, to end the crushing and gassing of male chicks, which obviously happens in the egg industry. So when they want the female chicks for the hens to lay eggs, and the males get discarded into a grinder or they get crushed. So as of the start of 2022, so in a few months' time, that will be prohibited.
Oh my gosh. What's their egg industry like? Is it big over there?
I don't know. Sure. I'm not too sure. But also on that note, the thing that made me cry the most about Earthlings was the castration of piglets.
Yeah.
Where they get pliers and they chop their tail off, they cut their ears and their teeth as well, so they don't eat each other because of the conditions that they're in affects their mentality, and they start going a little bit more cannibalic, or whatever that word is, to try to eat each other. So essentially, they're also banning, as of the start of 22, the castration of live pigs.
Wow.
Yeah, and piglets, which is amazing for these animals. So millions. Is
that Germany and France still?
This is just France. Okay. Germany will join along for the male chicks. I don't think the piglets will be far from them.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so that's really awesome news. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the male chicks.
That's what
I think from what I've read, they're going to use scanners to double check the fertilization before they're born. So they're going to try to kill them before they're born so that they don't have sentience. Obviously not the perfect solution. The perfect solution would be stop eating eggs.
Yeah.
So this isn't produced into the world at all. However, using the current technologies to scan an egg for the gender of the baby coming out is a reasonable solution to stop live animals dying.
Being basically.
Yeah, tortured and mutilated.
Yeah.
On the spot. With the castration of live pigs, that's just, they're going to stop doing that. That might have to result in them getting wider sheds so they're not as close together. I'm not sure what that'll look like. But it is great news for the animals of France and Germany.
Good job, guys.
Good job.
The Met Gala goes vegan.
What's the Met Gala?
I knew you were going to say that. So, for those of you, including you, that don't know what the Met Gala is, it's also known as the Met Ball. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of that?
No.
No, okay.
Look, I have, but it's one of those flashy things you see on media titles, and I don't.
That's all it is.
Yeah, right.
Right. So it's a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
For the benefit of Metropolitan Museum of Art Costume Institute in New York.
Right.
It basically kicks off Fashion Week. So it's red carpet, everyone dresses it's themed every year as well.
Cool.
So they dress pretty extravagantly for this costume institute. But they are going to be eating completely plant-based.
Awesome.
There are 10 high-level, amazing chefs that are going to be there in New York. Let's hope all of their costumes stay vegan, though.
Oh, look, I feel like that's not a thing.
I don't know. If they're going to have a vegan menu and they're being quite conscious about it, surely.
Maybe that's the theme.
It's not.
Oh, what's the theme, do you know?
I looked it up.
Something random.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Right, okay.
And then Barack Obama even had his 60th as a vegan event.
Yeah, you mentioned that. That's so random. Good on him.
How good is that?
Thanks, Barack.
But the Climate Crisis Summit can't even be vegan.
No.
Sorry to put a downer on our
It's not
good
meant to have
story.
downers. It's meant to be feel-good stories.
How ridiculous is that?
It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of people petitioning against that. I've seen a lot of.
So they should.
Yeah, that's pretty horrific to have, and it's not just not vegan. It's beef. It's the largest contributor in terms of agriculture to the climate, which will be fed to people.
I've got something else as well. I think you'll like this.
Okay.
So this is saying swaps.
Saying swaps.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You like this?
I do like these. I do.
So
like
what's
these.
your favourite one?
To feed two birds with one stone.
And what is it normally?
To kill two birds with one stone.
So the new version, the nice, clean version is to feed two birds with one stone.
Yes.
Love it. So let's see if you can.
I've got a smile.
Let's see if you can guess.
Yeah, all right.
Let's try. Bring home the bacon.
Bring home the bacon.
Bring home the bagels.
Bring home the. I do prefer bagels.
Yes.
I do like bagels.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring home the bagels.
So, yeah. Remember that?
And that is a saying to bring home the money?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. More than one way to skin a cat.
More than one way to feed a cat.
More than one way to peel a potato.
Oh, I like that. Oh, there are more than one ways, which is good.
I just don't like doing it.
No. More than
hate
one way to peel a potato.
Yeah.
Okay, so that obviously means different solutions to do things. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
There's not just one way to do
Okay.
something. Be the guinea pig.
Be the guinea pig. Be the tester.
Be the test tube.
Oh.
Close.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I've got.
Well, I've got one, actually. So, it's like beating a dead horse.
Oh. Yeah.
Have you heard of the alternative?
No.
It's like feeding a fed horse.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. You
That's
don't
it.
need to feed a
you don't
fed
need to
horse?
feed a fed horse.
You don't need to.
Yeah. So,
Feed
that's
a
the only one I know that is in the top of my mind. I always say feed two birds with one stone.
Always.
It's my most popular saying that's been veganized. Another note on that, I have consciously made an effort since 5 or 6 years ago, since I first heard it, to actually avoid the euphemisms of calling someone an animal that's related to their personality traits, which is completely off. It's like I'm not sure if this is a global thing, but in Australia, when someone has dibby-dobbed on you or whatever, dibby-dobbed, telltaled, whatever it is, you call them a rat. You're a rat.
Yeah.
I would just say, don't do that. Or anything else. I just would avoid the euphemism. Or when someone's like, you're a dog.
Yeah.
You ditched us. I would just say, you ditched us. Don't use that euphemism. I think that's very important because most people love dogs. No, I don't want to say everyone, but nobody looks at a dog and be like, you ditched me. A dog is loving. It's caring.
Yeah.
When someone eats really messy, I don't call them a pig.
They're not a pig.
They're not a pig. Pigs are beautiful, intelligent, smart, not so charming all the times animals, but they're eating messy. Just say that. You don't have to use the word pig. I'm sure there's lots of them. I can't think of many more, but I think that's really important as well in what that's the next step of veganism.
Well, we're doing it for sexism.
Why not? Yeah. If those who haven't heard, we don't say you have balls.
No.
We say you have guts.
Yeah.
You have guts. Is there anything else that we've been watching or reading lately?
I've just got a tip for sustainability. And it's something that we've been really...
we should totally add a tip to sustainability for every episode.
Okay.
Because we learn so much
Yeah.
about sustainability all the time. Okay.
This is something that we've really been implementing in our fridge lately. So, use the shelves to indicate what needs to be eaten first.
Yes.
So, top shelf needs to be eaten first. Our eyes are straight there. Eat that first. And then what we've just bought, we put in the crisper down the bottom in the drawer. So that doesn't need to be eaten right away. And then once it does need to be eaten or the top shelf kind of empties, you then graduate it.
Yeah.
I
really
feel like that really helps with our food waste.
Yeah.
Because then even if we do see something like we've got parsley on the top of our list on the top shelf at the moment, it needs to be eaten urgently.
Yeah, it's getting soft.
So we're watching it and we're like, oh, we need to use this.
As
so
a topping on every meal we put just parsley,
Yes.
parsley, parsley. Yeah.
And I'll make those falafels.
Yeah. You know what else we've been doing? I love that sustainability tip. Something else that we did was put our berries in a container. So we bought berries from the market.
In cardboard.
In cardboard. I know. It was so weird. We wash them with our Enviro wash, and then we put it in the container, which is sealed, and it's lasted more than 7 days, and it looks like it was just bought.
I know we ate them last night, and they were there for 6 days
already.
They were amazing.
Incredible. So really good tip. You know what else we've been doing?
What?
We've been on Chronometer.
Yeah.
We've been tracking our nutrients, and I think this is really cool. I actually read Plant-Based Athlete by Robert Sheik and Matt Fraser, and they talked about tracking Chronometer. And I always say track it for a week when you first go vegan to see what nutrients you're missing and what you need. So we've kind of done that again now for the last two maybe 3 weeks.
I think it's important no matter where you are, because you get complacent with your food.
Mm.
You start to re-eat the same things over and over, and then you're like, oh, I've actually cut out some of those meals that were giving me all of those vitamins that I'm not getting anymore.
For sure.
So I think it's really important to try it anytime.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it though.
Yeah, I'm definitely reminding you more
Yeah.
than you're reminding me. But I think it's really cool to associate some vitamins and minerals to what you need. Like if after a week we can see, hey, Sean, you don't consume enough calcium. Or with me, like, hey, I need to have more vitamin E. Or no, we don't struggle with vitamin K. You have like one broccoli and you got 500% your daily requirement. But there's certain nutrients, like I need to be consuming more protein and we both need to be consuming a lot less fat. And so now we can structure our meals around what our body needs that's congruent with our goals. Like if we want to lose weight, if I want to achieve this athletic endeavor, if you want to do A, B, and C for both of our training and health needs, I think that's really important. I'm actually really enjoying it, which I've always been against calorie counting, and I still am in a lot of respects, but I think we're doing it in a very healthy way, which is curiosity.
Yeah, I think it's super healthy. We're not
obsessed.
No, definitely not obsessed, but we're not trying to be in a deficit for calories. We know that sometimes we don't eat enough calories, like especially me. So I'm trying to eat more calories to make sure I get in more of the nutrients that I need. Correct.
Because it's a focus on micronutrients, because you think, okay, if your goal is weight loss or to tone up, which is a goal for a lot of people, you just think, oh, I got to eat less. But then we look at your chronometer, you're like, oh, you've had 1,400 or 1,500 calories. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm up to 3,000. What are you eating? But then we look at the end of the day, okay, cool. Tick, you're eating in a deficit, so you'll probably lose weight. But let's look at your micronutrient intake. Okay, 30% of your calcium, 20% of your copper. Like you're not hitting these things that your body needs to lose weight.
Exactly.
So I think that a focus on a micronutrients makes it a lot more of a healthy approach.
Yeah,
it's something
It's not just counting calories. It's making sure you hit.
That's right.
What your body needs.
Counting the macros, and it's awesome to see how much fiber we actually eat.
Yeah,
like we'll usually hit a minimum of 40 or 50 a day, and some days will be like 70, 80, 90 grams of fiber.
It's crazy to think most people do not hit that.
Most people, average in Australia is 14.
Wow.
I don't think, that's like 3 bananas. I don't know how people aren't hitting that. Like, I don't understand. But it's
you just
awesome.
eat so many bananas.
Yeah, we just bought like 3 kilos, probably. I don't know, a lot of bananas. But yeah, I think it's actually incredible. And I think if you don't know, if you're like tired or lethargic, or if you've got certain goals, I recommend tracking it for at least a week. I think that's been on my mind to share this past month.
Very good.
Well, I think that's it. That's the end of the episode. So next episode is episode 100.
Oh. I was like 100. Yeah.
100. That's right. 100 episodes of this show. This is actually going to be the 103rd episode, I think, technically. But I think there's certain episodes I'm not going to categorize. Like I did a little short episode on like why Miley Cyrus isn't vegan anymore. And I did a short one on easy vegan travel hacks, one on being vegan at Christmas, and then different things like that. I think it was actually only those 3 that I didn't count as episodes, because I put them more as like a bonus content. So episode 100, there is a giveaway that will that will be alongside that, which is a nice nifty one with a bunch of different eco things, sustainable things, and a book, which I find extremely helpful. So
you really liked that book.
Yeah, I really did like that book. So I will be giving away a copy of it, which is awesome. And so follow on Instagram, and I will be announcing what the giveaway actually is on the next episode, which will be aired next week.
Yay!
So it's really exciting. But I think that's it from us. Next month, I'm excited to see what stories come about.
And where we'll be.
And where we'll be. We're not going to be filming. For those watching, we're on a couch right now. We are not going to be on said couch
No,
next
we won't.
month. We are going to be on a different couch of a different size in a different location. All which will be revealed, which will obviously for you guys mean that you'll get more content. This is a way for us to have a bit more time on our hands, to be more eco-friendly. So this was a step for us to also be more sustainable. So I don't want to leave people too much on the edge. So we'll announce that next episode. But I think that is all. If you guys enjoyed this, like, comment if you're on the YouTubes, subscribe, follow the podcast, and leave a review. Like we said at the beginning, we'll read out more reviews if they come through. So very, very excited. Thank you, Shan, for joining us for this episode.
Such a pleasure.
Pleasure as always. I'm really excited for next month's story. I don't know whether we should include more doom and gloom or not.
It's part of life.
It's part of it, but more good
It's
stories.
about education.
It is. That is all, guys. Stay happy. Eat plants. Peace.